I'm on that crappy station. If you're on WKRP, that would be sort of accurate. It's crap radio, WKRP. By the way, I'm Dr. Johnny Fever. Venus Flytrap is up next. We don't really have any other DJs besides those two. They pull 12-hour shifts. Okay, no WKRP. Drew Brees, please. There he is, old number 9, the record-setting quarterback that took your New Orleans Saints to the glory days 15 years ago. Hey, we got a good one lined up for you, a Fantasy Friday edition of the program. Did I say Friday? Yes, I did. A Fantasy Friday edition of the program. I don't know if it's actually physically raining right now, but it's kind of a wet mess out there. It's been raining. It's overcast. I'm sure more rain is a-coming. Anyway, we got that kind of thing going. Tomorrow, there's supposed to be rain, at least for part of Saturday. Sunday could be pretty good. Could have some nice weather on Sunday. And then, boy, all of next week, we wake up with the 40s again. Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, all of next week, waking up into the 40s, creeping into around 60 degrees or so. So lots of 40s and really 50s all next week. Kind of a wintry feel to things. Some rain today, some rain expected tomorrow, then Sunday, cooler and nicer weather. And not a lot of rain forecast next week, just lots of 50s. Fantasy Friday edition of the program. The 4 o'clock hour this afternoon brought to you by Young's Dry Cleaning. These cats have been at it since 1940. 84 years of excellence. It's kind of amazing. Before the United States got into World War II, Young's was taking care of New Orleans and your dry cleaning. 2 walk-up locations with personal service. They've got free pickup and delivery. They have manless locker locations. They have a restoration department that'll take care of your fine linens or anything like, rugs, runners, drapes. They come and pick that stuff up. The pickup and delivery is absolutely free. For the drapes, they'll come take your drapes down from the hooks, bring them back perfectly restored and rehang them. The pickup delivery, taking them down, putting them back up, absolutely free. All you pay for is the restoration work from their restoration department. Rugs, runners, drapes, fine linens, delicate, expensive antique items, anything fabric, material, or cloth. Young's restoration department probably can get it to like new conditions again. Tired of your dry cleaner? Want to experience the best? Young'sDryCleaning.com. Young'sDryCleaning.com. 4 o'clock hour this afternoon on this Fantasy Friday, brought to you by Young's Dry Cleaning. Rouse's Markets phone lines are open. 766-9480. Rouse's Markets phone lines, 766-9480. Got a holdover trivia question or two. Not which year, which decade did Lincoln Beach shut down? These are softballs. Like for a baseball player, they're like, man, the ball came in like it was a garbage can lid. Looked like a garbage can lid, that big. How could I not put wood on that ball? This is that, a softball pitch. Here it comes. Big underhand lob thing, just floating. Not which year did Lincoln Beach shut down, which decade? Or as Buddy D would say, decade. Decade? It was a decade. In the decade of the 40s, the decade. Which decade did Pontchartrain Beach close? Decade? Decade? The decade of the 40s. Which decade did Lincoln Beach close? Which decade did Pontchartrain Beach close? Not which year. Softballs. You got answers? I got 50 big bucks for you guys just in time. 2 weeks from this Wednesday, Valentine's Day. 2 weeks from this Wednesday, Valentine's Day. 2 weeks from this Tuesday is Mardi Gras Day. 2 weeks from this Tuesday, Mardi Gras Day. The very next day, guys, Valentine's Day. The excuse of, honey, it's Mardi Gras distraction. Forgot about Valentine's Day, but I love you. It's just not going to work too well. Why go in that crappy doghouse? For just a little bit of money, you can get her exactly what she wants at the Woodhouse Day Spa. 5 area locations. The Plaza Tower, Joe Yeager's building that he says he's got under contract, hopes to flip it to someone else. That big black and white skyscraper with the netting on the top, Loyola Howard Avenue. When it opened in the late 60s, what made the top few floors of the building unique in this office building? What made those top few floors unique? Give me the answer to that. I've got 50 big bucks for you. Good at the Woodhouse Day Spa. Rouse's Markets phone lines to participate, 766-9480. 766-9480 on this Fantasy Friday. You're an hour away from the 5 o'clock whistle. Gotta love that. Hey, we're doing a little flip-flop. We're bringing in the home run hitter, and our leadoff guy is actually going to start second at 4:20 instead of Fridays with Fletch. At 4:20, a legitimate guest. Michael Hecht's going to join us, a real guest from Greater New Orleans Inc., live from Washington, D.C. He was answering questions for Congress. It was on C-SPAN, flood insurance. Michael Hecht live from the Capitol. Coming up in about 8 minutes at 4:20. At 4:35, another edition of Fridays with Fletch. Fletcher Mackel will join us. Fill us in on LSU's strong effort, falling short to South Carolina late at the PMAC. A heartbreaker. NFC, AFC title games, the Pels. As Eddie Van Halen's band once said, I think it was David Lee Roth, I'm on fire. The Pels are on fire. Frank Brigtsen will join us in the 5 o'clock power hour on a Fantasy Friday. Frank Brigtsen from his restaurant in the Riverbend. I love that visit. I love visiting with Frank Brigtsen, going to the Riverbend, talking food. Are you kidding me? Just a great way to wind down because Jeff Landry wants to reinstate Louisiana's executions. We just haven't had a good execution, a good killing in a while. 14 years, no one's been executed. The last one was like 2010. Before that, before Katrina, 2002. But by golly, we've got to get that electric chair working again. Lethal injection drugs, short supply. So reportedly, like Landry's crew's like, maybe we could do that. What was it? The nitrogen gas could hang somebody. Just hang them. Have the little trap door thing. You build it at the town square. You know, they just build it like on a Thursday and Friday for the Saturday or Sunday execution. Bring the kids. Firing squad. It's always a good one. And then old-fashioned electrocution. Put them in a bathtub with water and throw the hair dryer in there. Catch. Oh, wait, your hands are taped. Anyway, Jeff Landry wants to reinstate Louisiana executions. Just doesn't do anything. This is just all yap, yap, yap. Appease the base. Hey, Louisiana, we don't tolerate nothing. We'll kill you. Just it doesn't do anything. No one's like, man, better not commit that crime. They could kill me. And the types of crimes that people like get killed for, they're not sitting there having any kind of real thought about that. That's for sure. I don't like this. I don't dislike it. And I'm not for this, yay. But, I told you so. I told you so. Armed suspect shot during an attempted carjacking, like 2 a.m, 7300 Chef Highway. 23-year-old Jonathan Edwards taken to the hospital. He'll be booked upon his release. He's trying to carjack some dude who's packing heat. No. I actually go to the range and know how to use my gun. Not taking my vehicle. The citizen was not charged. Michael Hecht next from Washington, D.C. The Port of New Orleans is the gateway to global commerce, the economic engine that moves Louisiana and our country forward. For more than 125 years, Port Nola has continued to deliver the goods we use each and every day, by river, rail, and by road. No matter what, it all happens right here, delivering Louisiana's future at the Port of New Orleans, your working river. Learn more about your Port of New Orleans. Visit portnola.com.
Fausto's Italian Bistro on Veterans Boulevard, where the brothers Fausto and Roland are serving some of the city's finest Sicilian and Italian cuisine. From New Orleans' first family of Sicilian and Italian cooking, Fausto's Italian Bistro on Vets.
The Woodhouse Day Spa, with 5 area locations: New Orleans, Metairie, Slidell, Baton Rouge, and now Mandeville. A day of relaxation is just moments away at the Woodhouse Day Spa. WoodhouseSpas.com.
Did you know Rouse's sells only Angus beef? Angus beef's natural marbling means more succulence and flavor. Whether you choose Rouse's USDA Prime, Choice, or Select, it'll be only Angus beef when you get it at Rouse's. Tastes like home.
When a young man comes in and they walk into our store, and you can see they're a little intimidated. Last week, I saw the young man. I said, "Hey, what can I do to give you a hand?" He said, "Well, I'm here for an engagement ring, but I don't think I'm in the right place." So I got him to my desk, and within an hour, he had purchased an engagement ring, had spent $1,000, and he was treated like he spent a lot more, and I'm sure we have a customer for life. My name is Ken Friend of Friend & Company Fine Jewelers. You've got a friend in the jewelry business.
Young's Dry Cleaning has free pickup and delivery. That's right. Young's Dry Cleaning has absolutely free pickup and delivery. Home or office, East Bank or West Bank. Call Young's at 288-8381 or online at youngsdrycleaning.com.
River Cities Total Maintenance keeps you cool, New Orleans. NOLAAC.com is your cool spot.
Trey Yen in Mandeville, a New Orleans tradition for over 40 years, serving the finest Louisiana-inspired Chinese cuisine. Open Tuesday through Sunday. Trey Yen.
Here at the NOLA Coalition, we love our kids and we love our city. The people of New Orleans are standing together for a better future. By harnessing our collective resources, the NOLA Coalition will create a safer, more prosperous city for all residents. Your support is needed to help reduce violence, invest in our children, and drive generational change. Join now at nolacoalition.info.
Why wear the same old glasses that everyone else is wearing? Stand out from the crowd. Come to Art and Eyes. Art and Eyes is not your typical eyeglasses store. It's one of the finest eyewear shops in the country, right here in New Orleans, with precision-engineered prescription lenses and gorgeous high-quality frames from the heart of Europe, Japan, and the United States. Our products are thoughtfully curated, and our staff are here to help you find exactly the right frames. Art and Eyes on magazine, as unique as you.
Ooh, Leidenheimer, that's what I said. Ooh, Leidenheimer, that's French for bread. Leidenheimer.
The French bread of the city of New Orleans. Good to the last crumb. Leidenheimer French bread.
Francesca Deli and Pizzeria has over 15 specialty sandwiches, a big 10-ounce burger, and some of the best pizza in New Orleans. Francesca Deli and Pizzeria on Harrison Avenue in Lakeview between Canal Boulevard and West End.
Dave Miette Insurance Agency. Auto, home, flood, business. 504-556-0809. Dave Miette, INSagency.com. Dave Miette Insurance Agency. Auto, home, flood, business. 504-556-0809. Dave Miette, INSagency.com.
So anyway, Joe, I don't know what I was thinking. It was like me and 19 other people in the entire United States of America. We're watching C-SPAN, and Michael Hecht joins us live from Greater New Orleans Inc. What a lead-in.
Were you really watching C-SPAN?
I wasn't watching it when you were on. I watched it after the fact. I said, there's my guy Michael Hecht on C-SPAN, nationwide television audience, Capitol Hill, telling our congressional leaders how it is.
How it is and how it's going to be. Yeah, that was it. And you know what I said up there? I got up there, sat down, and the first question they asked me, I said, it depends on context.
And the context was?
No, I didn't say it. That was
flood
bad.
insurance.
That was a bad Harvard joke. Look, I've done a number of these hearings on national flood insurance over 10 years. And this was actually the most optimistic one because typically in these hearings, whether they're on the Senate or the House side, they involve half the group supporting flood insurance and half the group philosophically or politically just hating it. In this case, it was interesting. Both the Democrats and the Republicans on the committee recognized the need for flood insurance. But it's just a question of what to do about it. There's been so much in the way of flooding and other natural disasters that at the end of the hearing, we had Senator Tim Scott, who's the ranking member, saying, man, should we go beyond flood insurance and talk about total natural catastrophe, something that basically covers all hazards? So it was a very different type of hearing, and I think we've got some momentum on some very specific ideas to begin to clean up the flood insurance program and just make sure that it works and it's affordable into the future.
Michael Hecht's with us from Greater New Orleans Inc., joining us live from Washington, D.C., been on Capitol Hill talking with Congress. Who's against flood insurance? I don't get it. Is it just the folks that don't want government involved in these types of things and it should be private sector, just pure capitalism? I'm lost on that.
Yeah, there's two groups that are against flood insurance. One are I'll call them the kind of extreme libertarians who just don't want any public intervention in anything except like fighting wars. And the others are, I'll call them the blissfully ignorant, who just don't understand why all these people are down living near water. And so those are kind of the two groups, the ones who are just ideologues and the ones who are high giant stupid.
Yeah, the blissfully ignorant, the 80% of the United States of America.
Well, I mean, the reality of it, Corey, is that, well over half the country lives near either coastal or riverine water.
Yeah.
So, and the reason why we live near water is not because we're all kite surfing. It's because that's where commerce happens. One of the most interesting kind of fallacies about flood insurance that we heard a lot from Senator Shelby from Alabama over the years was the idea that it was just subsidizing rich people's beach homes in Floribama. The reality is that the vast majority of the people who have flood insurance are middle class, working class. And so, we need to address that. Now, I will say that there is something that came out of this that I think we can act on, which is that there are 1% of the total properties in flood insurance, roughly 50,000, that account for about 30% of the payouts. So these are repetitive loss properties. And the idea that we have is currently we're paying about $600 million a year as policyholders like me and you back to the U.S. Treasury in interest on the $20 billion of debt that we have with NFIP. That's kind of stupid. I mean, I don't know why we're paying, we're kind of paying debt back to a program that's public money. It would make much more sense to take that $620 million and have it go towards buying out that 1% of people that are causing all the problems and clean up the balance sheet. If 1% are causing 30% of the payouts, let's get them off the balance sheet. Let's take those people who are obviously not in the right place and buy them out and prevent building there anymore. And that's something that I think has Democratic and Republican support.
Well, they could get together and do their own self-insurance, whatever.
Right, or if you don't need it, if you're so rich you don't care, it doesn't matter.
Exactly.
Sure, but if you flooded 3-5 times you don't get it anymore. I mean, it's the old, first time shame on you, second time shame on me kind of thing.
Michael, what else is going on up there in D.C.?
Oh, it's a busy one this year. It's the 75th anniversary. We have a new governor, obviously, and he's been everywhere. Drew Brees is the king of Mardi Gras. I'm not sure Drew really understood what he was getting himself into when he accepted his role. Washington Mardi Gras, for people who haven't been up to this thing, it's like a combination between a political convention, a debutante ball, and a Hajj. I mean, it's just a very strange kind of event, but it's politically incredibly efficient. It's very, very intense, and it just builds an enormous amount of political and social capital. So it's worth doing, but it's frankly unlike anything that I've ever. I can't really compare it to anything else in a singular way. It's a very Louisiana phenomenon.
No, sadly, though, I think it's more like Mardi Gras down here. It's like a big social event. I think any other city or state would be envious to have this event in D.C. where you can get in front of power players. I just don't know how we benefit from it. You think, man, it was the D.C. Mardi Gras that got us that bridge built.
No, honestly, Corey, I'm a Washington Mardi Gras skeptic. I'll tell you, people work the hell out of this event. There are the balls and the silly stuff in the chocolate towers, but there are also a lot of meetings happening there and on the Hill during this. I mean, for example, my testimony, to Senate banking, I mean, I would have come up for it anyway, but we scheduled it this way. I met with the American Clean Power Association when I was up here, so. It's not. There is an element to it of while Rome is burning, no doubt, right? No doubt. But I think the idea of getting your entire delegation in D.C. for a political and social event, it's actually got a certain internal logic to it that I think other states would benefit from, but they would never be able to do it because you would never have Wyoming doing this. I mean, first of all, there are not enough people,
right?
And second of all,
what would they do?
What would they like, come to the Buffalo Room? I mean, I don't get it. I hope nobody's listening to this broadcast in Wyoming.
Yep, I know. We're off in Wyoming today. That was a good selection.
Yeah, thank you.
Good job. Hey, anything else that is going on in DC? Any folks that you maybe got in front of that maybe down the line is going to pay dividends for the city?
Well, so I'm trying to think about my schedule. It was the flooding, the banking testimony was significant. I just came off a panel that Senator Mary Landrieu, put together with the former Secretary of Energy under Donald Trump and a bunch of people. There's a lot of excitement about this energy future in Louisiana, and it's bipartisan. Everybody recognizes that we have the know-how, the history, the assets to do everything from oil and gas to the billion-dollar solar panel manufacturing facility in New Iberia to the $5 billion blue hydrogen facility in St. Charles. There's a lot of momentum around this all of the above energy future, and that theme, I'm glad to see, doesn't seem to be changing with the administration. That's exciting because all the jobs that we've lost over the past 2 decades in oil and gas, we have a chance now of potentially getting back in oil, in natural gas, but also in biofuels, in battery manufacture, in blue and green hydrogen, in building and servicing wind. So of all the sectors, that's the one that I think is most realistically optimistic about the future.
Michael, that convention center hotel could be on again. Lots of hurdles. It's New Orleans and Louisiana. It's yet another try, but they're talking about it. $600 million, 1,000 plus room hotel, basically on the far end of the convention center, which would butt right up against the River District, all kind of blend in together.
Yeah, all that stuff's going to happen, Corey, I think. I know there's been this political nonsense about it, but it's just people trying to score points. It's going to happen. it's such an exciting development. It keeps Shell in town. It builds a new headquarters. You've got a new museum of music that they're talking about putting there. And we've seen, since COVID, all the things that COVID robbed of us, culture, intimacy, the opportunity to make bad decisions in public. New Orleans offers all that. And so they've been flocking back here. So I'm very bullish on the whole River District and all the other things like the hotel that are going around there. I think it actually has a lot of momentum.
River District lawsuit, nothing to worry about, just more typical bogged down
it's
stuff.
Unfortunate, but it's but I think we're going to get it done.
Yep. Any final thoughts till next week?
Corey, I'll say that I've been here for 3 days and 2 nights, and I'm so anxious to get home. I'm not even flying direct. I'm going via Houston. This is like the last flight out of Saigon. If there was a flight here that was going to Greenland, I'd be on it, man. I'm good. It's very intense. Saw what I needed to see, did what I needed to do, and now I'm coming home.
You know what the K and K Street stands for, don't you, huh, Michael?
No, what does it stand for?
Corey, come on, man.
Oh, all right. I didn't know you were going with that.
Yes.
Is it Corey Street? Every street's Corey Street. Corey, you're like the Rome of radio. All of the streets lead to you.
One brick at a time, my citizens. One brick at a time. Michael,
Corey,
always a pleasure.
Thank you, sir. Have a great weekend. And I'll see you when I get home.
All right, man. Be careful coming back from D.C. That's Michael Hecht. We're coming right back.
For game-changing innovation, look to the Latrim family of companies located in Harahan. Intralocks, a Latrim company, changed the game when they invented modular plastic conveyor belts over 40 years ago. These belts and innovative Intralocks technology are transforming movement in manufacturing facilities around the world. Intralocks is a dynamic global company now hiring in production, warehousing, shipping, and more. If you want to be part of our successful team, visit Latrim.com. That's LAITRAM.com.
Here at the NOLA Coalition, we love our kids and we love our city. The people of New Orleans are standing together for a better future. By harnessing our collective resources, the NOLA Coalition will create a safer, more prosperous city for all residents. Your support is needed to help reduce violence, invest in our children, and drive generational change. Join now at nolacoalition.info.
1970 was an exciting time in New Orleans. The first Jazz Fest was held, the city hosted its first Super Bowl, and the first Helm Paint location opened on Earhart Boulevard. While the floppy disks, mood rings, and pet rocks may have come and gone since the 70s, Helm Paint has grown to become your premier source for quality Benjamin Moore products, competitive pricing, and personal service. Please visit one of our locations today and we'll meet our competitors' prices on any identical product. Helm Paint and Benjamin Moore, let us steer you in the right direction.
Helm Paint and Supply.
When USA Today ranked the 10 best must-visit New Orleans restaurants for travelers, Mid-City's own Katie's made the list. USA Today says Scott Craig is chef-owner at Katie's, a much-loved Creole Italian eatery that draws armies of regulars for lunch, brunch, and dinner. A neighborhood spot where locals congregate and New Orleans-style hospitality rules. Indeed it does. Katie's in Mid-City.
Dave Miette Insurance Agency. Auto, home, flood, business. 504-556-0809. Dave Miette, INSagency.com. Dave Miette Insurance Agency. Auto, home, flood, business. 504-556-0809. Dave Miette, INSagency.com.
Ladies and gentlemen, in this Lamarck Automotive Complex, there's something called Quick Lane. Tires, wheel alignments, struts, servicing your transmission. We do in all makes and models. It doesn't have to have been purchased from us. It's for you. It handles your lifestyle with your budget in mind. And we want to get you in and out as quick as possible. Quick Lane, you got to come see it. You're going to love the experience. Right there at Williams Boulevard in Kenner.
The Woodhouse Day Spa, with 5 area locations: New Orleans, Metairie, Slidell, Baton Rouge, and now Mandeville. A day of relaxation is just moments away at the Woodhouse Day Spa. WoodhouseSpas.com.
Outdoor dining, Middle Eastern cuisine, under the oak trees, Lebanon's Cafe, some of the city's finest lamb chops and shish kebab, Carrollton at Jeanette by the streetcar barn, Lebanon's Cafe. For Leidenheimer Baking Company, producing the perfect French bread is more than a vocation. It's a sacred mission. And for 5 generations, they've used the same time-honored process, baking their signature loaf with its crisp crust and delicate center, unique and still good to the last crumb. From the finest French Quarter restaurants to your local po' boy shop, for over 125 years, New Orleans' own Leidenheimer.
For us, it's really relationships. And if you care about the relationship, you're going to do the right thing for the customer all the time. When we're in design process of a custom made piece, I have a test that says, if I wouldn't give this to my wife, I think we should pass and start over. If it's not perfect, it's going back to the shop. We're going to start all the way over. My name is Ken Friend of Friend & Company Fine Jewelers. You've got a friend in the jewelry business.
Yeah, you right. Corey Johnson back at you. Sometimes I buck the trends. I know you folks want me to talk about his 40-year-old diesel Mercedes or maybe his motorized bicycle, but we're not going to do it. Fletcher Mackel joins us on a Friday, another edition of Fridays with Fletch. What up, Fletch?
Not a lot, Corey. What's up?
I'm bucking the trends. The fans are calling for you to discuss your 40-year-old diesel Mercedes or your motorized bicycle, but I'm running from those topics. I'm saying no, by golly.
I sold the car. You'll be, so we don't have to talk about it anymore because, again, the Mercedes is no longer mine.
All right, I'm going to say... I want to say like 3,800. Be like, nah, I'm not going to take 38. I'm going to say you got $4,100.
I'm going to say you are pretty close. So I'm not going to say what I got because I don't feel like necessarily.
It's disclosing personal information. Plus, the buyer might not like that.
True. So yes. So I correct. I'm close to the number you said.
Fletcher Mackel is with us, no longer the owner of a vintage 40-year-old diesel Mercedes that he used to drive for several years. We actually go to the same mechanic. Do you still use the same mechanic as I use, or since you're driving a different vehicle, you take it somewhere else?
Well, I bought a newer vehicle, so I bought it in September, and I have not had to do anything to it yet. So I will probably still be going back to that mechanic you recommended because he's great, but I haven't had to because I am driving a more modern vehicle. So what is it? September, October, November, December, and into January, I have not had to do anything but put gas in it and drive it.
Now, our mechanic's packing heat all the time. He's got like a pocket 2-shooter. I'm not kidding you, like in his pocket. And then he's got like a Glock under the dashboard of the car.
Did not know any of that.
He's packing heat, Fletch. So don't, if he says it's $200, pay him $200. Might might put one in your kneecap otherwise.
So,
yep.
Yeah, I'll pay the bill when it comes.
Hey, Fletch, guess what? Guess what's 2 weeks from this Tuesday?
Mardi Gras.
I was going to say, you're sorry ass getting stuck out in Metairie on this Channel 6 beat again.
I do. I am in Metairie on Mardi Gras Day.
Have you ever thought about that? That this is definitely like we're getting even to Fletch for doing this? Like, I mean, no one wants to go to Metairie Mardi Gras. Metairie people don't want to go to Metairie Mardi Gras.
Yeah, I mean, I'll say this: it's definitely look. It's a great experience. I'm happy to be a part of it. I'm going to give you all the cliche company lines here. Like, I am a team player on Mardi Gras Day. So wherever they want to put me, I am perfect. In my 21 years at WDSU, I've had all kinds of assignments. Bourbon Street, the balconies, St. Charles Avenue.
But in recent years, the WDSU sports team has been given Netery, and we make the best of it and have a good time.
Yep, no doubt. Yeah, Fletch, don't let me drag you into my toilet. I don't give a crap what I say. You've got a good reputation. People like you. You don't need to be dogging Metairie and stuff. Just let me do that, okay?
Yeah, you go do that.
Exactly. Man, that was the best compliment I ever got. One guy just said, "Yeah, give Corey that story. He doesn't give a crap," and it was a compliment, actually. Like, he'll run with that. He doesn't care if it offends folks. That one thing, all kidding aside, the guys that really do it, like your brother, your old sportscaster in crime buddy, Lee Zurich, Hammer. I mean, those kind of gigs are kind of scary, Fletch, when you're coming down on like a public official. They're doing something illegal. You're knocking on their door at 11 at night on a Sunday with a photographer. That's real life stuff, man. That's I got a lot of respect for your brother and Cassie Sherm asking the tough questions to the mayor, knowing the mayor's not answering them, and not gonna. And she asks it again in a very professional way, and it's not fun. Not getting off on that. And if anything, it's sort of stressful. But I got a lot of respect for those people anyway.
I do. I just get to go, talk sports.
Yep. Exactly. You ready to jump into it?
Sure, let's do it.
I tweeted last night at halftime. I was like, 41-36, whatever. I was like, LSU played pretty well for the first two quarters. South Carolina didn't do a whole lot. LSU's going to have to just be relentless for the entire second half, the last two quarters to win. And it wasn't that they weren't relentless. They lost Angel Reese with about 4 minutes to go, fouled out. You could argue at least one, if not two of those fouls were nonsense. Whatever. South Carolina, Dawn Staley, that team's got a lot of confidence. They just kept grinding at the ends. The shots they weren't making in the beginning, especially three-point shots, started dropping. And just a heartbreaker. They win at the very end of this ball game with LSU sort of running out of gas and South Carolina not. But you at halftime, I knew. I was like, LSU's played pretty damn good. South Carolina hadn't done a whole lot. This is a ball game. This is a sick contest. LSU has to keep the accelerator depressed.
Yeah, look, I was there. I covered it last night, and I don't know if I've ever seen the PMAC like that. I mean, it was a raucous atmosphere that was insane and amazing for women's college basketball, for any sport, but definitely, the leaps and bounds that we've seen women's college basketball make in recent years. And I agree with you. I do think had Angel Reese not fouled out, she may have been enough to help LSU grind it out and neutralize some of South Carolina's size a little bit more. But again, Dawn Staley deserves a ton of credit. I mean, look, her team won the national championship 2 years ago. They were in the Final Four last year. They lost a ton of players, and she just reloaded. And they're 18-0 and number one team in the country. I mean, she's a phenomenal coach. I actually think, if anything, I'm a little let down by LSU because LSU had won 29 straight games at home. They're the more veteran, experienced team. Last year, LSU went to Columbia, and South Carolina was the more veteran, experienced team, and they blew their doors off, winning by 24. I'm not saying I expected LSU to win by 24, but I just thought LSU had every advantage. They now have the veteran leadership, been there, done that on South Carolina. They're playing at home. They've got the confidence. They've got the talent. So early in the game, I thought, look, South Carolina hasn't been down more than 8 or 10 in any game. LSU's up in this game big. This may be LSU's statement win of, hey, we got all this talent and we're figuring out how it works. And you're seeing it now. But you're right. South Carolina wasn't very good in the first half. They came out to open the third quarter and they kind of started playing more physical. And then down the stretch, once they lost Angel Reese, you see how much she means. is an anchor to that team. Even if it doesn't always show up in the box score, she is the best player and the anchor on that team. And losing her if they'd lost her in the final minutes, maybe they're up 4 or 5 and they can weather the storm, but not 4 minutes down the stretch against that team. How about this? When Angel Reese fouled out, South Carolina went on an 11-3 run the minute Angel Reese fouled out, and it changed the whole game.
Yep, and a couple of key 3-pointers too. South Carolina beats LSU. Yeah, that crowd on TV, it was electric. So I would imagine, like you said, Fletch, one of the men or women's electric crowd last night.
It was insane. I mean, I've never seen it. And again, look, LSU basketball. I know you're a big LSU basketball guy, but like that's not LSU football is their bread and butter. I mean, like basketball is. I understand Kentucky, but basketball to me has always been ACC, Big Ten, big old Big East.
Yep.
Look, I went to Indianapolis in 2006 to cover the Final Four when LSU was there with Florida and UCLA and George Mason. And they've been to the tournament, but it's not like men's basketball has ever been some powerhouse like football is. In women's basketball, when I first started working here, they were. When Sue Gunter was here and they played in the Final Four in 2003, that was special. And then when Pokey Chapman took over, they made runs.
Yep.
But, I mean, it's been more than a decade since they've been relevant. And so to go to the PMAC and to see an atmosphere like that, it's unbelievable. I know, if I could say one more thing, I know sometimes we have to take a break. The PMAC is a dump. I mean, I understand now why Kim Mulkey is fighting to get the legislature and the university to upgrade it, because, I mean, I've been to 2 games there this year, and the PMAC makes the Smoothie King Center look like SoFi Field in LA. I mean, I forgot how antiquated, dated, and dumpy that place is.
Yeah, the PMAC's like 55 years old, 50 plus years old. From 52. It's from 1972. So it's a very old building, and it doesn't have the, footprint with, club seats and suites. So I just don't know what they do, Fletch. I mean, there's talk of you build where Bernie Moore track is, and you move the track across the street where baseball, softball, football practice facility is, all that. And then you build in that spot. And then when that building opens, you tear down the PMAC, and that becomes like a Champion Square type thing or something. Who knows? We'll talk about that, finish up with that when we come back and talk some Pels too. NFC, AFC title game. Fridays with Fletch. Don't move, New Orleans.
The Lamarck Automotive Collision Center, it's open now. We fix cars and trucks. We do all makes and models. And it doesn't have to be a Ford or a Lincoln. It could be whatever you're driving. 32,000 square feet under roof. Now open at 3101 Williams Boulevard. It's all about you, the customer, getting the most for your dollar. I would say the most perfect collision center anywhere. The Lamarck Automotive Collision Center, 3101 Williams Boulevard. Go check it out.
Dave Miette Insurance Agency. Auto, home, flood, business. 504-556-0809. Dave Miette, INSagency.com. Dave Miette Insurance Agency. Auto, home, flood, business. 504-556-0809. Dave Miette, INSagency.com.
From the owners of Katie's in Mid-City and Bienvenue in Harahan, an old school deli with over a dozen specialty sandwiches. Francesca Deli and Pizzeria on Harrison Avenue in Lakeview between Canal Boulevard and West End. Francesca Deli and Pizzeria.
Ooh, Leidenheimer, that's what I said. Ooh, Leidenheimer, that's French for bread. Leidenheimer.
For over 120 years, New Orleans' very own Leidenheimer French bread.
Here at the NOLA Coalition, we love our kids and we love our city. The people of New Orleans are standing together for a better future. By harnessing our collective resources, the NOLA Coalition will create a safer, more prosperous city for all residents. Your support is needed to help reduce violence, invest in our children, and drive generational change. Join now at nolacoalition.info.
It's time to relax. The Woodhouse Day Spa, Metro New Orleans' premier day spa experience, now with 5 area locations. For a day of relaxation or maybe just a quick 1-hour getaway, the Metro area's premier day spa experience is at the Woodhouse Day Spa. And now 5 area locations: New Orleans, Metairie, Slidell, Baton Rouge, and our newest location in Mandeville. The Woodhouse Day Spa, woodhousespas.com.
Being a part of people's lives, from an engagement ring to a wedding band. Before you know it, the wedding day is here and groom and bride are exchanging gifts on that day. And not too long after that, there's baby gifts to have. And I just enjoy being part of other people's family, saying, Mr. Friend did my engagement ring and he did my mom and dad's engagement ring. My name is Ken Friend of Friend & Company Fine Jewelers. You've got a friend in the jewelry business.
Rouse's Market is hiring. With 65 stores, fuller part-time employment, and flexible scheduling, Rouse's has a job for you, or maybe even a career. Apply at any Rouse's store or online at rouses.com.
Young's Dry Cleaning, with 2 walk-up locations with personal service. Young's on Claiborne and Young's on Harrison Avenue in Lakeview. Young's Dry Cleaning. Call 288-8381 or online at youngsdrycleaning.com.
What actually lasts a lifetime? Not much, but at Helm Paint, we have something guaranteed to last a lifetime. Benjamin Moore's Regal Select. This paint and primer in one offers cutting-edge waterborne technology, smooth application, and long durability. Helm Paint and Benjamin Moore, your New Orleans paint store.
Fausto's Italian Bistro on Vets has daily lunch specials Monday through Friday, and their entire lunch menu is available too. Open 11 a.m. through 2:30 p.m. For the finest in Sicilian and Italian cuisine, Fausto's Italian Bistro on Vets.
The Port of New Orleans is the gateway to global commerce, the economic engine that moves Louisiana and our country forward. For more than 125 years, Port Nola has continued to deliver the goods we use each and every day, by river, rail, and by road. No matter what, it all happens right here, delivering Louisiana's future at the Port of New Orleans, your working river. Learn more about your Port of New Orleans. Visit portnola.com.
Authentic, large portions, priced right, healthy for you. I'm talking about Lebanon's Cafe. Carrollton at Jeanette by the streetcar barn. Home of shish kebab. Home of lamb chops. All your favorite Middle Eastern sides like tabbouleh, baba ganoush, hummus, mujedra, fried football kibbe, and so much more. Some of the finest Middle Eastern food in Metro New Orleans. Lebanon's Cafe. Carrollton at Jeanette by the streetcar barn. They're open till 9:30. They're open right now. They're open 7 days a week, 11 a.m. straight through to 9:30, Lebanon's Cafe. It's another edition of Fridays with Fletch. Fletcher Mackle is with us. Fletch, did you want to finish up your thoughts from before the break, or you want to head into different topics?
No. I mean, I think I made my point that the PMAC needs a facelift or to be just imploded and a new stadium built.
And what you do, you can't implode it and, like the Hawks playing while they redid the Omni, they play at the UNO Lakefront Arena back in my high school days. They can't play at the Centraplex or whatever, the Raising Cane's place. They'd have to build it while that PMAC was still there. Where would they do it, you think?
I don't know. That's a good question. I mean, I know like we always talk about like if the Pelicans, if and when, I do think when NBA expansion comes in, they're going to need a new Smoothie King Center, a new building. I don't think a renovation is going to work there either.
Right.
And they could move to the Dome and use the Final Four configuration for a year if they wanted to build on the same footprint, if that's what they wanted
or
to do.
Build right next door and then tear the arena down. Yeah, lots of options. You're right.
Sure,
you could play at the Dome.
But Baton Rouge, I don't know if there is a viable play big-time college basketball game. I mean, I don't know enough. I didn't live in Baton Rouge. I didn't go to LSU. So I don't know if is there a temporary setup like in that River Center, or is there something they can do, a makeshift for LSU men's and women's basketball for a season if if by chance they did do some renovation where they couldn't play.
I think they could go to the River Center, but I think it would be like 7,500 seats or something. But I might be wrong.
I mean, that would work. I mean, you could do that. Like that, if they could do a temporary there for a year while they built, imploded it and built a new one, or did a massive renovation and did a new one. I mean, that could work. So, yeah.
Hey, Fletch, someone called me the other day and was like, Corey, what do you think about Zion and trading him? And I was like, Zion's playing some of the best basketball as a Pelican, and that's when you would want to trade him. You are the freak on Twitter with the trade machine and all these different options. They're great. It's all legitimate too. You have it working where it's not just fantasy stuff. It actually works. Would you trade Zion Williamson right now, Fletch? And the reason I would is because just sort of a flaky player. You don't know if he's going to go back to what he was, flaky, if he's going to get injured again. And when he's playing like this, some team that's the missing piece, a team that, big market team, you could get a lot in return, like a Lakers Anthony Davis thing. What do you think?
So that's a great question, but it's a loaded one, and I don't know if we have enough time for it. And let me just answer the question like this. No one on this team should be untouchable, and that's what I would say. Now, that doesn't mean I would actively shop anyone on this team, because I like a lot of guys on this team.
That's a good point, though. Even Ingram or McCollum, they're not untouchable. You're right. There's no super franchise.
Specifically what you're talking about with Zion Williamson. When Zion Williamson is healthy and playing his best, he is awesome. Awesome. The other night, 11 assists. He's unstoppable to the rim. He's a point guard in a 6'6", 280-pound body. He's fantastic. So you don't give away a guy that's 23 years old, that's under contract for 5 years, just to give him away because, we're worried about him getting injured again.
I wouldn't give him away. I'm saying the opposite, Anthony Davis type deal where you get, everything.
Right. Now, let me say this. Now, that being said, if there's a team out there that picks up the phone and calls the Pelicans, or if the Pelicans wanted to just fire a shot at somebody else and say, we're willing to give you Zion for players X, Y, and Z, or player X in this, there's always a deal that can be done. But I think the complication becomes, and this is what the Pelicans dealt with this summer, when there were absolutely conversations about moving both Brandon Ingram and Zion, is other teams are not going to want to give you a ton because they're going to say, ooh, we're risk averse to taking on a guy that could be injury plagued. So we're not giving up our best assets. And the Pelicans are going to say, well, we're only doing a deal like this for your best assets.
Right.
So it becomes a situation that becomes impossible because the Pelicans would move Zion. But Dallas isn't trading Luka. And
right.
The deals that you think of that he could be moved in, that's not happening. And anybody who says, well, just get a bunch of picks for him, it's well, that's not where this organization is. They're trying to win right now. So you don't take veteran players and picks for Zion. If somebody else wants to put in their young star and it helps redundancy on rosters or flesh out rosters, I am all for it. But those deals are hard to come by, and they're even harder to come by in season.
Yep.
It can happen in the off season. So again, I could talk about this till I'm blue in the face.
No, I'm with you. Look, I got about 20 seconds, 10 seconds each. KC at Baltimore.
I like Baltimore.
Yeah, I kind of do too. It's going to be a great game though, huh?
Yeah, it should be. I mean, Patrick Mahomes is the greatest player right now. The Chiefs are a new dynasty, but I just like the Ravens.
I've never seen a player get to the Hall of Fame faster in NFL history than Mahomes, right?
6 straight AFC championships.
Come on.
He's going to be the greatest ever when he's done playing.
Detroit at San Fran.
I want Detroit because I like Dan Campbell, but I think San Fran is just so good.
All right. Wow. Baltimore, San Fran Super Bowl. I like Baltimore, Detroit. Fletch, always a pleasure. See you next week. That's Fletcher Mackel. That's Blue Boys saying stick around.
You're on the neutral ground with Corey Johnson On TV on Cox Channel 4 and Spectrum Channel 333. Also on YouTube. On radio at NOLA Talk 93.9 FM, WSLA New Orleans.
Hi, it's Ken Friend from Friend & Company Fine Jewelers. You've got a friend in the jewelry business. Come see us over on Maple Street in Uptown.
Friend & Company Fine Jewelers Breitling time, 5 p.m.
For game-changing innovation, look to the Latrim family of companies located in Harahan. Intralocks, a Latrim company, changed the game when they invented modular plastic conveyor belts over 40 years ago. These belts and innovative Intralocks technology are transforming movement in manufacturing facilities around the world. Intralocks is a dynamic global company now hiring in production, warehousing, shipping, and more. If you want to be part of our successful team, visit latrim.com. That's LAITRAM.com.
Dave Miette Insurance Agency. Auto, home, flood, business. 504-556-0809. Dave Miette, INSagency.com. Dave Miette Insurance Agency. Auto, home, flood, business. 504-556-0809. Dave Miette, INSagency.com.
Young's Dry Cleaning has free pickup and delivery. That's right. Young's Dry Cleaning has absolutely free pickup and delivery. Home or office, East Bank or West Bank. Call Young's at 288-8381 or online at youngsdrycleaning.com.
River City's total maintenance keeps you cool. River City's total maintenance keeps you cool. River City's total maintenance keeps you cool. NOLAAC.com, your cool spot. River City's total maintenance keeps you cool. NOLAAC.com, your cool spot.
Rouse's, New Orleans grocery store. Rouse's has the only full-service grocery stores both in the French Quarter on Royal Street and in the CBD on Baronne in the old Sewell Cadillac building. The Rouse's on the river, Tchoupitoulas at Napoleon, is in a century-old warehouse. And uptown on Ferret at the corner of Valence is Rouse's all-new boutique store. With 7 locations in Orleans Parish, Rouse's is New Orleans grocery store. Rouse's Markets. Taste like home.
For us, it's really relationships. And if you care about the relationship, you're going to do the right thing for the customer all the time. When we're in design process of a custom-made piece, I have a test that says, if I wouldn't give this to my wife, I think we should pass and start over. If it's not perfect, it's going back to the shop. We're going to start all the way over. My name is Ken Friend of Friend & Company Fine Jewelers. You've got a friend in the jewelry business.
The Neutral Ground with Corey Johnson.
Susan Spicer joining us on the program.
Even when they presented me the award, the people that I look up to the most, Frank was there and Donald Link was there. It does cause you to reflect back and think about your whole career.
Maybe the Stella Brennan Award says that to you, like I've arrived.
It certainly is kind of the ultimate honor when it comes to cooking and hospitality in New Orleans and the world.
New Orleans style talk gumbo, served daily.
Doesn't get much better than that, huh?
Hi, this is Joey Helm. My dad, Bunky Helm, had a vision of a locally family-owned store serving the residential and commercial paint needs of New Orleans. I think Dad would be proud of today's Helm Paint and Decorating, and here's why. We have the best technical staff in the business, providing the best color matching service in Southeast Louisiana. Perfect matching for any color and any brand. And we'll save your colors so you don't have to save those old cans. Helm Paint offers free 2-hour delivery. Our in-store decorators will assist you on deciding what color and type of paint to best showcase your home. But most importantly, as your local independent Benjamin Moore dealer, our products provide the greatest value in the paint industry. Superior coverage, and Benjamin Moore paint simply covers better and lasts longer. New Orleans is a city of vibrant color, and no one else provides the paints of New Orleans like Helm Paint and Decorating. Visit any of our 6 locations or online at helmpaint.com.
Helm Paint, let us do you right. Helm Paint and Supply.
Ford F-150, #1 seller in America. What about in the USA? Let's see, what about in the world? Who sells more trucks than Ford? Nobody. It's because the Lamarck team is the real team. All that makes it happen is one goal. Everybody having a great experience at Lamarck Ford. We became #1 for a reason, because we're good. And we need to prove it every day, every deal, all of the time.
Ooh, Leidenheimer, that's what I said. Ooh, Leidenheimer. That's French for bread. Leidenheimer.
5 generations, family owned and operated. Leidenheimer French bread.
Here at the NOLA Coalition, we love our kids and we love our city. The people of New Orleans are standing together for a better future. By harnessing our collective resources, the NOLA Coalition will create a safer, more prosperous city for all residents. Your support is needed to help reduce violence, invest in our children, and drive generational change. Join now at nolacoalition.info.
Flintstones. It's the Flintstones. What a great cartoon. Bedrock. What a great name for the town. I liked Barney. Barney was an affable guy. Fred was a little ornery. Fred was a good man. I think he had good intentions, but Fred kind of was cynical a little bit, little jaded. Barney wasn't. Barney was just a positive force. I thought Barney was a positive force. And Betty seemed a little cooler than Wilma, too. I don't know. I guess right now, Joe, is when I could drop in just saying. Geesh. You know what just saying means, huh? It basically means someone's lied to you or they've insulted you. There's nothing else. There's no other options. They're either just blatantly lying to you. Joe, sorry, I really can't make and pick you up tonight. I had to attend to the molar dentist appointment. Just saying. No, you're lying. Or, Joe, I think you look great, man. I'm not so sure about that haircut, but, just saying. Oh, thanks. Thanks for the insult. That's today's lesson on just saying. Just saying.
It's also useful for people who don't really have anything to say, but just want to sort of throw it out there.
Just saying.
That way, when you go to the bus stop, you look around. Just saying. What are you saying? Just saying.
Just saying, not much, but I'd like y'all to argue about it. I'm just trying to stir the pot over here and watch from the side. Yeah. You know what word I do like, Joe, but I've just never used my entire life, but I think it's the opposite of just saying. I think it's a brilliant word. And it can get you out of so many situations that I've never used it because I'm a city boy, not a country boy. I think it's a country word, not a city word. But it's so vague and gray, and you could just get out of any situation. I reckon it's like you're not confirming it, you're not denying it. You're just sort of.
Well, the city version of that's so much more offensive. It's I guess so. Which seems almost accusatory.
But yeah, I guess so's got such. I reckon just sort of the person could think you're agreeing with them. You just kind of smoothly get out of that. Anyway, Corey Johnson with you, opening up the 5 o'clock powwow with an entire show sheet ready to go, and instead, the first few minutes, pure nonsense. Pure nonsense.
Yeah, you're right.
Yep, it is a Fantasy Friday edition of the program. By golly, Joe, we almost forgot to blow the 5 o'clock whistle. By golly, Joe, we almost forgot to blow the 5 o'clock whistle. Joe's getting funky. That was a stylish blowing of the 5 o'clock whistle. Hey, the 5 o'clock whistle appropriately brought to you by Katie's in Mid-City. That's right, the 5 o'clock whistle sponsored. Katie's in Mid-City. Hey, by the way, full of flat screen TVs. Where are you watching the AFC, NFC championship games? How about Katie's in Mid-City? Are you kidding me? Kansas City at Baltimore kicks off at 2. You get there about 12:31, enjoy lunch before the ball game. And then during the ball game, ordering drinks, ordering snacks, whatever you want on all those flat screens. Right after that, 5:30, Detroit at San Francisco, fade right into dinner. Katie's in Mid-City, the quintessential New Orleans neighborhood restaurant. And It's not a sports bar, but it's got so many flat screen TVs with the stuff you want to watch. It's sports bar-ish, but with great New Orleans food, big portions, New Orleans specialties, old school, Iberville, Corner Talamacas, Katie's in Mid-City. 5 o'clock whistle, appropriately brought to you by Katie's in Mid-City. Coming up in a few minutes, we'll go from Mid-City to the Carrollton neighborhood, the Carrollton section of Uptown, the River Bend specifically. It's like a neighborhood within a neighborhood within a neighborhood. The River Bend inside of Carrollton, inside of Uptown. We're going to Brigtsen's on Dante Street in about 10 minutes. I love it. Frank Brigtsen. What a great way to wind down the week. You know, it's New Orleans. Political ugliness. It's Louisiana, broken state. It's a lot of, heavy lifting Monday through Thursday. I like Fridays. I like Frank Brigtsen talking food, something we love, a big positive, not a lot of baggage. All good. Frank Brigtsen about 10 minutes away, the James Beard award-winning chef. Jeff Landry wants to execute people. No, he just wants to reinstate Louisiana's executions. I don't get it. Haven't executed anyone in 14 years. Only 2 people this century. One in 2010, one in 2002 before Katrina. Lethal injection drugs are in short supply. This Alabama nitrogen gas execution did not go so well. Supposedly the guy's gasping for air. Took like 4 minutes for him to die. 4 minutes dying is like 4 hours dying. Time goes by really slow when you're in pain. The vacation goes by fast. That was fast 2 weeks in Europe. Death by nitrous or nitrogen gas. Apparently, it was like an experiment. Good going, Alabama. Anyway. What's that?
Roll Tide.
Excuse me, Joseph?
Roll Tide.
Anyway, lethal injection drugs, short supply, so Louisiana's considering hangings or firing squad, electrocution. I say bring back the guillotine. Really effective and quick. Wow. Anyway, I'm not some bleeding heart liberal, I'm just so anti-death, penalty. I don't freak out about abortion, guns, death penalty. I don't lose sleep. I'll be down there with the protest one way or the other with you boys. It's just, but I'd rather not do it. I mean, you see these countries that do it like Iran, where 200 people, public execution. I mean, that's overt and obviously wrong and right in your face, but we just sort of do it on a smaller level. Like they're reading Alabama executed someone. The United States of America executes people. I mean, I don't want to think about some violent crime happening to me or a loved one, but it just seems like lifetime incarceration in some crappy jail has to be, I would want to be executed myself. I would rather be I'm getting on a boat in Grand Isle and heading south. And if I get caught, I'm just going to go, call it a day. I'm not going to jail for the rest of my life. Anyway. Jeff Landry wants to bring back executions. It's just a big political thing. Hey, there's a new sheriff in town and this is how we operate in Louisiana. It's Yosemite Sam shooting himself 4 feet off the ground. Shooting the pistols and it's just pushing him up in the air. It's just all political nonsense. It's for folks to go, yeah, we got, we don't mess with crime in Louisiana. No, of course we do. Because we don't educate people, so it makes crime worse. Big brain doesn't solve all problems, but the bigger the brain, the better. Anyone out there no, I like to keep my brain the size it is, or shrink it, actually. I'd like to shrink it. There's something wrong with you. I mean, we always want to learn more, grow our brain, become more intelligent. Every day we do by default. as human beings. Hard to digress, or regress, excuse me. I guess you would just have to be just hammered all day long continuously. Anyway, Cardell Hayes trial. Prosecution rests their case. The defense, no witnesses. They rest their case. Tigers, Lady Tigers, sold out PMAC. Lose at the end, fall to number 1 South Carolina. A heartbreaker, dream taker, love maker. Don't you mess around with me. Heartbreaker. Heart. I credit heart with that. Joe, I did tell you funny on the back of a Prius. I saw a bumper sticker on the person's Prius. It said something like awesome Prius or, fabulous Prius in quotes, and then dash. Nobody.
Yeah, I think it's cool Prius. Either way, I like a self-aware Prius owner.
I like them too. Just nobody. No one's saying cool Prius. No, Prius to me, like when a Prius pulls in front of me, it's like a school bus or a truck. I'm like, slow time. Yeah, it's like they're trying to save the battery or something. It's like, come on, put down the trail mix and accelerate. Corey Johnson with you. Frank Brigtsen's next.
Young's Dry Cleaning with 2 walk-up locations with personal service. Young's on Claiborne and Young's on Harrison Avenue in Lakeview. Young's Dry Cleaning. Call 288-8381 or online at youngsdrycleaning.com.
When a young man comes in and they walk into our store, and you can see they're a little intimidated. Last week, I saw the young man. I said, hey, what can I do to give you a hand? He said, well, I'm here for an engagement ring, but I don't think I'm in the right place. So I got him to my desk, and within an hour, he had purchased an engagement ring, had spent $1,000, and he was treated like he spent a lot more, and I'm sure we have a customer for life. My name is Ken Friend of Friend & Company Fine Jewelers. You've got a friend in the jewelry business.
The Port of New Orleans is the gateway to global commerce, the economic engine that moves Louisiana and our country forward. For more than 125 years, Port Nola has continued to deliver the goods we use each and every day, by river, rail, and by road. No matter what, it all happens right here, delivering Louisiana's future at the Port of New Orleans, your working river. Learn more about your Port of New Orleans. Visit portnola.com.
Rouse's Market is hiring. With 65 stores, full or part-time employment, and flexible scheduling, Rouse's has a job for you, or maybe even a career. Apply at any Rouse's store or online at rouses.com.
Ooh, Leidenheimer, that's what I said. Ooh, Leidenheimer, that's French for bread. Leidenheimer.
Served in New Orleans' finest restaurants, Leidenheimer French bread. There's a Middle Eastern restaurant that's less than 5 minutes from where Causeway and River Road meet, Lebanon's Cafe. Convenient to Old Metairie and Old Jefferson. Carrollton at Jeanette on the streetcar line, Lebanon's Cafe.
River City's total maintenance keeps you cool. River City's total maintenance keeps you cool. River City's total maintenance keeps you cool. NolaAC.com, your cool spot. River City's total maintenance keeps you cool. NolaAC.com, your cool spot.
Custom window treatments can enhance the look and value of your home. At Helm Paint and Decorating, we're proud to offer custom plantation-style window shutters by Scandia. Perfect for any window, including large frames, French doors, sliding doors, and arches. American-made SL300 shutters are available in many colors to match your personal decor. We'll come out to measure, and you'll receive fast delivery. Plus, they're virtually maintenance-free.
Helm Paint and Benjamin Moore let us steer you in the right direction.
Helm Paint and Supply.
Fausto's Italian Bistro on Veterans Boulevard, where the brothers Fausto and Roland are serving some of the city's finest Sicilian and Italian cuisine. From New Orleans' first family of Sicilian and Italian cooking, Fausto's Italian Bistro on Vets.
The Woodhouse Day Spa, with 5 area locations: New Orleans, Metairie, Slidell, Baton Rouge, and now Mandeville. A day of relaxation is just moments away at the Woodhouse Day Spa. WoodhouseSpas.com.
Dave Miette Insurance Agency. Auto, home, flood, business. 504-556-0809. Dave Miette, INSAgency.com. Dave Miette Insurance Agency. Auto, home, flood, business. 504-556-0809. Dave Miette, INSAgency.com.
In New Orleans, we don't eat to live. We live to eat.
More is better.
Scott Craig of Katie's.
That is our slogan. More is better at Katie's. It means more of everything. Not just more food, more smiles, more friendship, more love. More. When you do something, you have to do it right. You know, it's all about more, and it's all more of the good things.
Get more at Katie's Restaurant in Mid-City.
A Fantasy Friday edition of the program. Corey Johnson back at you. Thanks so much for checking us out. Hey, this weekend, when it's raining, that's when you go to one of the 7 Helm Paint and Decorating locations in Metro New Orleans and pick your colors, get your paints, get your supplies. So then when Sunday rolls around and it's high and dry and it's a nice day, you can get your crew out there and they can knock out that paint project. Yeah, don't let the bad weather steer you away. Let it steer you into one of the 7 Metro Helm Paint and Decorating locations and pick your colors, get all the stuff you need. That's right, 7 Metro New Orleans Helm Paint and Decorating locations. When you got to paint in Metro New Orleans, and hey, Baton Rouge, 4 Metro Baton Rouge Helm Paint and Decorating locations now. So when you got to paint in Metro New Orleans and Metro Baton Rouge, do it once, do it right. They'll steer you in the right direction. Helm Paint and Decorating, now in the capital city. Same free 2-hour delivery, Baton Rouge, wherever you are. They'll bring those high-quality Benjamin Moore products and more right to the job site. Helm Paint and Decorating, now in Baton Rouge. Fantasy Friday edition of the topic. Let's go to the Riverbend, Dante Street, Brigtsen's Restaurant. For nearly 40 years, James Beard award-winning chef Frank Brigtsen joins us on this Friday. What up, Frank?
Where you at, Corey? TGIO!
Thank goodness, man, huh? The weekend's upon us.
Yeah, here it is. I won't say it's a beautiful day in New Orleans, but at least it's in the 60s. I'll take that any day.
Yep, I'm with you on that. Hey, what you got cooking up there on Dante Street?
Well, we got some speckled trout in today. We went a few days without it, but it's back. Speckled trout pan fried with roasted pecans and Meunier sauce. We also have our king cake bread pudding on the menu through Carnival. This is not made with king cake. It's a bread pudding that's meant to be reminiscent of king cake. And it's served with a cream cheese sauce and an Italian meringue on top, which is a cooked meringue. So it's nice and silky smooth. And then we add the 3 sugars, purple, gold, and green, and then brulee the meringue. So it has a really nice, pretty look to it.
Wow.
Delicious.
Yummy. Frank, I love the speckled trout pecan. What's the gulffish with the crab crust?
We are rolling with striped bass today. Broiled gulffish or striped bass with crab meat crust, sauteed mushrooms, and a lemon crab sauce. And that's perhaps our most popular dish, although we've been selling a lot of meats this week. The steak dish is really flying out there with Marchand Duvin sauce, 6-ounce filet, the pork chop with apple cider pan gravy, warm German potato salad, and sweet and sour red cabbage, a great dish for this time of year. And, of course, the roast duck à l'orange with dirty rice. That dish is a staple in the menu, of course, and we cook ducks every single day, low and slow, for about 4 hours to render out all the fat and get nice crispy skin, and you get a nice boneless half duck.
Any chicken on the menu?
Not at this time, only in our gumbo.
Gotcha, yeah.
Filet gumbo with chicken and andouille sausage, yeah.
Yep, that's a good one right there. That's a great way to start.
Absolutely. That's what I had for dinner last night. I had a friend over for dinner, and I had a cup of gumbo and the beef fillet with Marchand Duvin sauce. Delicious.
Yep, that Marchand Devin's fabulous. It just takes that fillet up to a whole other level.
Yeah. And we're, of course, selling a lot of barbecue shrimp, always. Very proud of that dish. Great appetizer with a loaf of crispy Leinheimer French bread to soak up all that buttery, peppery sauce. Delicious. Butternut shrimp bisque. Sweetbreads have been selling like crazy, too. We do sauteed sweetbreads as an appetizer. Veal sweetbreads, of course. Dusted with flour and cooked in clarified butter, so they're nice and crispy on the outside and tender on the inside. And then in the same skillet, we saute mushrooms, green onions, capers, a little stock, and finish it with a lemon roasted garlic butter.
Frank, what would make someone eat sweetbreads like originally? Like desperation? I'm serious. I mean, like we know, like in the black community, like, you know, pork lips or tongue or, you know, pig's feet or ears, chitlins, all that's because that's like what the, you know, slave driving master, they'd take all the good meat and throw the carcass to the slaves, and that's what they dealt with. It just seems like it's almost like oysters. I think someone was desperate and they cracked that shell open and they saw protein in there and ate it, and they're like, this is pretty damn good. I just don't know how you would naturally gravitate towards sweetbreads. How did that get going? Tell us what it is and what's your theory on it.
Well, I think there's a lot of truth to that. And I think, you know, there's a saying about la boucherie in Louisiana that we eat everything except the oink. Everything gets used. And I think that's true across the world. If you're raising cattle, for instance, a dairy farm, the babies, the calves, they have sweetbreads, and it's a gland in the neck that filters the mother's milk. And so it has this creamy, rich texture to it. And especially in a rural environment like that, if you're living on a farm, nothing goes to waste. And so when someone butchered a calf for whatever reason, they discovered that this particular organ had an incredibly unique texture and flavor and richness, and it became a delicacy. And in the 1800s, up until the 1900s, all organ meats were called sweetbreads. But now we call it offal, O-F-F-A-L, and sweetbreads refers to the thymus gland from the calf. And so what happens, and there's a lot of practicality to this in cattle farming, the most valuable cows are the females because they can breed and they can give you milk. So it's the male calves that are used for sweetbreads because they don't have that value. So this is an added value product for the male steers.
Any clue the name?
I don't know. You know, I had a fella in 2 nights ago visiting from somewhere, and I went out to the table and just said hello, and he had just had his first sweetbreads and said it was one of the best things he's ever eaten. It was a life-changing experience. And that's how it was for me my first time. I had him at Crozier's restaurant in New Orleans East on my 24th birthday, and they were so knockout delicious that I've been chasing that flavor and quality ever since. Whenever I see them on the menu, I order them. And you're either kind of in that club or not.
Yep.
And one thing I discovered, Corey, years ago is that my menu says veal sweetbreads. Just one time, a lady ordered them and was shocked when it arrived at her table because she's a vegetarian. She didn't really know what sweetbreads were.
Wow.
So I do describe them as veal sweetbreads. And, you know, some people are, you know, have strong beliefs about veal, you know, how they treat the calves and all that stuff. And so they don't eat it. But that's okay. It's a personal choice. I love it and I serve it. And I think veal in general is an important part of Creole cuisine, always has been.
Frank Brigtsen's with us. He joins us every Friday in the 5 o'clock powwow for a few minutes, talking food, talking the good things in life that we enjoy here in New Orleans. Hey, Frank, anything, are we in between seasons? Is something coming online, something fading out? What's going on right now?
Well, my main concern is the crawfish season. I don't think we're going to have one. And that really makes me sad because I love working with fresh peeled crawfish tails, as you know. And I would be surprised to get any.
Now, when you say we're not going to have one, you mean like it's going to be like crab meat, just prohibitively expensive and not worth it? It's going to be two things with crawfish, small and expensive.
Yeah, and that's okay. I mean, you know, it's going to be expensive, number one, but the main concern for me is availability. The crop is so small this year because of the drought from last summer. And all the reports I'm reading from Mike Strain, the Department of Agriculture, it's going to be unusually bad season for crawfish. And I don't think there's going to be enough volume in the crop to really make peeling crawfish feasible because of the expense and the availability. So I'd be surprised if we see any. But, you know, there's always hope. And that's kind of disappointing to me because it's usually a bridge. Crawfish is usually a bridge in the early part of the year until we get back to crab meat season, which is April, really.
Yeah. No, and we love our crawfish down here. Everybody loves crawfish. The crawfish dishes that come with the local fresh crawfish. I was raving about a few just last week, too, from your place, that corn and crawfish soup.
So it's going to be really unusual, and I think you just have to take what Mother Nature gives.
Yep.
It coincidentally happens to be the best time of year to eat oysters. You know, January, February, and into March, to me, is the prime oyster season. So oysters and finfish are the things that are going to be plentiful and delicious and at their prime. So you just have to enjoy that. And, you know, we'll have to make adjustments to the menu, I guess, or just not have certain things, crawfish dishes. So
I want my crawfish egg rolls. I want my crawfish and corn soup. I want my crawfish etouffee from Brigtsen's. What's going on?
I know. And, you know, we buy a sack of crawfish every week to boil and make stock and garnishes. But if the crawfish sack is $150, I can't afford to do it.
Wow. I hope some fluke happens and the crawfish stabilize, but yeah, it doesn't look likely. Will the rice harvest be affected as well because of the drought?
That's a very good question. And I think, you know, that they're tied together, those two crops. Farm-raised crawfish are grown in rice ponds. And so because of the drought, they weren't able to plant their rice. So the farmers are getting hit with a double whammy. And we'll just have to see how that plays out.
Frank, what else is cooking tonight at the restaurant? Any dishes we missing?
The tuna's looking really good. You know, I mentioned finfish, and this is a great time of year for yellowfin tuna. This is the time of year when it's plentiful, high fat, so it's very juicy, and great time to eat tuna. And, you know, we blacken the tuna steaks. These steaks are, on average, 2 inches thick, sometimes more. Blackened with a hard crust on the outside, served with smoked corn sauce, black bean salsa, and a little drizzle of roasted red pepper sour cream. That's a Brigtsen's signature dish. And if you can't decide between meat and fish, the tuna is a great way to go.
Is the middle of that tuna sort of room temperature?
Oh, yeah. We serve it medium rare unless you ask for something else.
Right.
We'll do any temperature you want, but our standard is to do it medium rare. So it's warm in the center, but still red.
Yep. Still really red. Yep. Frank, how are we looking as far as openings for tonight or tomorrow night? You guys pretty booked up, or is there an availability
We
or
are
two?
pretty booked. Tomorrow, I noticed there's a two-top, a deuce available at 7:30 or 8 o'clock. So that's definitely an opening there. And don't hesitate to call. People's plans change. If you want to come by, just give a call and see if there's an opening. And I would also mention Valentine's Day, which is going to be tricky this year for everyone, including restaurateurs, because it falls on Ash Wednesday. My crew decided not to open for Ash Wednesday, which we normally don't. So we're not going to be open Valentine's Day. So if you want to come dine with us, come the weekend before, or that Thursday is also a great day to come out for Valentine's.
So Valentine's Day, Brights.
Fun, rest on Ash Wednesday, and then come out to eat Thursday.
Yeah, do it either Endymion Saturday night before or after on Thursday. That's a good idea, especially with Ash Wednesday.
Yeah, I mean, there are going to be a lot of restaurants open Ash Wednesday, but a lot of them will not be.
Yep.
So plan ahead, ladies and gentlemen.
861-7610 is the phone number at Brigtson's. 861-7610. To-go orders are still rolling, right, Frank?
Absolutely. Anything on the menu we can do for you. We'll pack it up and you can take it home and enjoy and relax.
Mom and dad have 4 kids. They need six orders, 6 entrees, 6 apps, soup, salads, dessert, no problem?
We got that.
All right, I like that. 861-7610, Brightson's, 861-7610. Frank, always a pleasure, brother.
Same here, Corey. Thank you, and we love you, New Orleans. Happy Carnival season.
Yeah, you're right. Frank Brigtsen from his restaurant, that Creole Cottage in the Riverbend. They've been doing it 38 years this March. 861-7610, the phone number at Brigtson's. 861-7610. Hey, speaking of the Riverbend, Friend and Company Fine Jewelers in the Riverbend. Hey, guys, you heard Frank talking about Valentine's Day. Ash Wednesday, the day after Mardi Gras. Mardi Gras is 2 weeks from this Tuesday. That means Valentine's Day, 2 weeks from this Wednesday. 2 weeks from this Wednesday, guys. Real, natural diamonds, 1 billion years old. Go see Ken Friend at Friend and Company Fine Jewelers on Maple Street. Every price point, they got you covered. Tens of thousands of dollars. You could spend north of $100,000 on a single piece of diamond jewelry at Friend and Company Fine Jewelers, and I'm not kidding you. And there's also an entire room full of real diamond stud earrings, real diamond tennis bracelets, real diamond necklaces, real diamond engagement rings. Everything in that room under $1,000. That means, guys, for a few $100 for Valentine's Day, 2 weeks from this Wednesday, you can get her real natural diamonds for a few $100. Friend and Company Fine Jewelers on Maple Street in between Broadway and Carrollton. Go see Ken Friend. He'll take care of you. Jeff Landry wants to restart Louisiana's executions, sort of bring back the death penalty. It's been kind of in limbo, sort of just floating out there. 14 years, no one executed. The last time was 2010. Before that, 2002. Lethal injection drugs, short supply. Alabama went with a nitrogen gas execution, just like an experiment, just did not know how it would really work, and it didn't work out very well. 4 minutes, the guy gagging, gasping for air. Took a while for him to die. Not very humane. And you don't know what kind of crime he did. Just really isn't the answer. Nitrogen gas. Louisiana's considering that, or hangings, firing squad, electrocution. Why not just hook a chain around the dude's ankle and drag him down the interstate behind a car? Eventually he's going to die. I mean, it's crazy. And I'm not some pro-life, anti-death penalty, whatever. Just honestly, like abortion, guns, death penalty, don't really think about it all that much. But it's not a deterrent. No criminal's worried about getting the death penalty when committing a crime. So it's not really a deterrent. Folks that get on death row, chances are much greater they're never executed than executed. That's the whole point. Get this thing going again. Let's kill some people. There's really no benefit to it. And the thing that I look at, a lot of folks don't. We just live inside a bubble, a lot of us. I look outside the bubble. Like, I look at foreign countries like Saudi Arabia or Iran or whatever, even ally or not, and just they execute a bunch of people. They don't have the same, laws and just how we go about things. They do it differently. And then they can look at us now and go, Alabama executed a guy with nitrogen gas and he was gasping for air for 4 minutes and it wasn't very humane. And the United States executing people. It just seems sort of beneath us in a way. We incarcerate people. I don't know about you. If I had to go to jail the rest of my life, I'd rather be dead than going to jail the rest of my life. Corey Johnson with you, a Fantasy Friday edition of the program. An armed suspect shot during an attempted carjacking about 2 a.m., 7300 block of Chef Highway. That's where you want to be, 7300 Chef Highway at 2 a.m. That's a good spot. 23-year-old Jonathan Edwards taken to the hospital, gunshot wound. He'll be booked when he's released. The victim, the citizen that shot him, no charges, not arrested at all. Cardell Hayes trial, prosecution rests their case. The defense, no witnesses. They're done. They rest their case without even a case. They just the prosecution didn't prove anything. Lady Tigers last night, a tough one. They lose the lead at the end, fall to number 1 South Carolina. That was a brutal one. That one hurt. LSU was right there basically the whole game. About 4 minutes to go. You can argue the fouls weren't right. They were right, whatever. I would say at least 1, maybe 2 fouls on Angel Reese. She fouled out with 4 minutes to go. So that kind of LSU, I think, got outscored 11-3 the rest of the way. Tonight, at the Smoothie King Center, the Blender, Oklahoma City, they're one of the top teams in the West. They're taking on the Pelicans. Should be a good one. 7 o'clock tip-off from the Smoothie King Center. Hey, Blue Plate Mayonnaise, part of New Orleans. Part of New Orleans for 95 years, since 1927. A New Orleans family tradition. Now, some of you may have been going to the grocery, heading to the Rouse's. You're in that condiment section, ketchup, mustard, mayonnaise. You're like, where's my Blue Plate Mayonnaise? Can't find my Blue Plate Mayonnaise. I hear you. It's there, though. Just the old label that you remember, no longer there. They've got a new label, but the same great tasting Blue Plate Mayonnaise you've grown up with that you love. New look, same legendary taste. It's on your grocery shelf. Blue Plate Mayonnaise.
Why wear the same old glasses that everyone else is wearing? Stand out from the crowd. Come to Art and Eyes. Art and Eyes is not your typical eyeglasses store. It's one of the finest eyewear shops in the country, right here in New Orleans, with precision-engineered prescription lenses and gorgeous high-quality frames from the heart of Europe, Japan, and the United States. Our products are thoughtfully curated, and our staff are here to help you find exactly the right frames. Art and Eyes on magazine. As unique as you.
Custom window treatments can enhance the look and value of your home. At Helm Paint and Decorating, we're proud to offer custom plantation-style window shutters by Scandia. Perfect for any window, including large frames, French doors, sliding doors, and arches. American-made SL300 shutters are available in many colors to match your personal decor. We'll come out to measure, and you'll receive fast delivery. Plus, they're virtually maintenance-free.
Helm Paint and Benjamin Moore led us steer you in the right direction.
Helm Paint and Supply.
The Lamarck Automotive Collision Center, it's open now. We fix cars and trucks. We do all makes and models, and it doesn't have to be a Ford or a Lincoln. It could be whatever you're driving. 32,000 square feet under roof, now open at 3101 Williams Boulevard. It's all about you, the customer, getting the most for your dollar. I would say the most perfect collision center anywhere. The Lamarck Automotive Collision Center, 3101 Williams Boulevard. Go check it out.
You're listening to The Neutral Ground with Corey Johnson.
Cotton Bowl winning coach Willie Fletch joining us on the program. Have you ever been part of a game that great?
A lot of things happen in the game. You just don't know the script. You got to adapt and improvise. You just got to keep playing hard the whole time, and our guys did an excellent job of that.
How big is yesterday for the overall future of the program?
You got to have the guys that really have a burning desire to get quality education and also be a great football player. You got to have both.
You've always have embraced New Orleans. You've been a great ambassador for the city, for Tulane University.
Well, I appreciate you saying that. My wife and I just love it here in New Orleans. And just everybody, the city's just sensational. We just a dime for a person who came up to me after game. I had tickets in the old Tulane Stadium. And, I've heard that a ton of times. And then, that's good that we're able to make some people happy.
That's Willie Fritz joining us.
Thank you. I appreciate it. Roll wave.
The spirit of New Orleans. It's Corey Johnson on the Neutral Ground.
For Leidenheimer Baking Company, producing the perfect French bread is more than a vocation. It's a sacred mission. And for 5 generations, they've used the same time-honored process, baking their signature loaf with its crisp crust and delicate center, unique and still good to the last crumb. From the finest French Quarter restaurants to your local po' boy shop, for over 125 years, New Orleans' own Leidenheimer.
River City's total maintenance keeps you cool. River City's total maintenance keeps you cool. River City's total maintenance keeps you cool. NoAC.com, your cool spot. River City's total maintenance keeps you cool. NoAC.com, your cool spot.
From the owners of Katie's in Mid-City and Bienvenue in Harahan, an old school deli with over a dozen specialty sandwiches. Francesca Deli and Pizzeria on Harrison Avenue in Lakeview between Canal Boulevard and West End. Francesca Deli and Pizzeria.
Rouse's, New Orleans grocery store. Rouse's has the only full-service grocery stores both in the French Quarter on Royal Street and in the CBD on Baronne in the old Sewell Cadillac building. The Rouse's on the River, Tchoupitoulas at Napoleon, is in a century-old warehouse. And uptown on Ferret at the corner of Valence is Rouse's all-new boutique store. With 7 locations in Orleans Parish, Rouse's is New Orleans' grocery store. Rouse's Markets. Taste like home.
My Sittu, that's Arabic for grandmother, used to make the best football kibbe. You can experience kibbe just like my grandmother used to make, and so many other Middle Eastern favorites on the streetcar line, Lebanon's Cafe.
Here at the NOLA Coalition, we love our kids and we love our city. The people of New Orleans are standing together for a better future. By harnessing our collective resources, the NOLA Coalition will create a safer, more prosperous city for all residents. Your support is needed to help reduce violence, invest in our children, and drive generational change. Join now at nolacoalition.info.
Ooh, Leidenheimer, that's what I said. Ooh, Leidenheimer, that's French for bread. Leidenheimer.
Since 1896, a true taste of New Orleans, Leidenheimer French bread.
Dave Miette Insurance Agency. Auto, home, flood, business. 504-556-0809. Dave Miette, INSagency.com. Dave Miette Insurance Agency. Auto, home, flood, business. 504-556-0809. Dave Miette, INSagency.com.
Young's Dry Cleaning has free pickup and delivery. That's right. Young's Dry Cleaning has absolutely free pickup and delivery. Home or office, East Bank or West Bank. Call Young's at 288-8381 or online at youngsdrycleaning.com.
It's time to relax. The Woodhouse Day Spa, Metro New Orleans' premier day spa experience, now with 5 area locations. For a day of relaxation or maybe just a quick 1-hour getaway, the Metro area's premier day spa experience is at the Woodhouse Day Spa. And now 5 area locations: New Orleans, Metairie, Slidell, Baton Rouge, and our newest location in Mandeville. The Woodhouse Day Spa. WoodhouseSpas.com.
The Port of New Orleans is the gateway to global commerce, the economic engine that moves Louisiana and our country forward. For more than 125 years, Port Nola has continued to deliver the goods we use each and every day, by river, rail, and by road. No matter what, it all happens right here, delivering Louisiana's future at the Port of New Orleans, your working river. Learn more about your Port of New Orleans. Visit portnola.com.
You know, body language tells you a lot about what a person's thinking. For instance, that means she has an interest in the finer things in life.
The Neutral Ground with Corey Johnson.
That means she also wants a little fun in her life, but only with the right man.
Corey Johnson.
Now she's pouring a Colt 45, and we all know what that means.
Yeah, you right.
Mind if I join you?
You must have read my mind.
Something like that.
The power
Something
of Colt
like
45.
that. That's the lines I
works
use.
every time.
They don't work anytime. 100% guaranteed to not work. Something like that. I'd love to go up to a girl and say something, and she goes, "You must be reading my mind." I've never had a girl tell me that. You must be reading my mind.
I'd like to walk up to a girl holding a Colt 45 and her not immediately call the cops.
That would either that or just bludgeon you with like a stick. Take the bottle out of your hands and just clock you across the side of the head with it, and then just run in the opposite direction screaming while you're bleeding on the ground.
Works every time.
It does work every single time, though, Joe. I was one time at my friendly neighborhood Rouse's. I went right up to the little, refrigerator section, pulled open a 40-ounce Colt 45 brand malt liquor, and just poured it over the top of my head. Okay. All I remember was waking up, which I'm assuming was several hours later. And there were like 20 scantily dressed women just oogling me and grabbing on my arms and legs and my torso. It's crazy. I'm just in a puddle of Colt 45 brand malt liquor. It's crazy. It literally does work every time. There's a disclaimer on the bottle. Women will flock and could knock you down, could cause bodily harm. There could be some advances you don't want happening that the women, are coming after you. Colt 45 is a powerful aphrodisiac, Joe. I don't know if you knew that or not.
I didn't.
No, it's true. Colt 45. I love the 40. You know how the 40 came around, huh? How that came along? It was always a quart. And then someone was like, 4 free ounces. 4 free ounces. Like, we're not giving you 36 ounces. We're giving you 40 ounces. And then everybody had to follow suit because you were getting, what would that be? An entire eighth more of 4 ounces on 36. It'd be about an eighth, huh?
This might have been too
1/9.
Too far beyond your time, but I don't know if you ever played Edward 40 hands in college.
I never played Edward 40 hands, Joe.
It's basically where you tape a 40 to each hand, like Edward Scissorhands.
Wow.
And you can't take them off until you finish both 40s.
That would not be a fun game to play.
It's a hangover.
That's a big hangover.
Colt 45.
Now, Joe, this is a fact. It was either, I think it was Loyola or Tulane. They had a shot game where the kids would turn on the Neutral Ground program. And anytime I said cellular device, they would have to take a shot. And one time I got some emails, just these kids said that within like 7 or 8 minutes, I said cellular device like a dozen times. And like these kids just had to quit. One kid's throwing up. They're just like pounding these shots because I was like, let's go to Jimmy on the cellular device. Jimmy, what made you call us via the cellular device? Thank you for that call via the cellular device. Frank joins us via the cellular. That's 2 cellular device callers in a row. These kids are just like, wah! Anyway, it was a shot game a drinking game based off of my program. I'm hoping Friday, Joe, not like a Tuesday edition. Hey, we're getting hammered at Loyola and Tulane at 4:15, listening to Corey, hoping he'll say cellular device. Hey, Fausto's Italian Bistro is open till 10 p.m. tonight. Fausto's Italian Bistro. Sit at the bar. Check out the Pels. Dine outside. It's like 60 degrees. Indoor dining. Some of the city's best Sicilian and Italian. You know where. Fausto's Italian Bistro on Vets.
Cities, total maintenance keeps you cool. River Cities, total maintenance keeps you cool. River Cities, total maintenance keeps you cool. NolaAC.com, your cool spot. River Cities, total maintenance keeps you cool. NolaAC.com, your cool spot.
River Cities Total Maintenance keeps you cool, New Orleans. NolaAC.com is your cool spot.
Rouse's, New Orleans grocery store. Rouse's has the only full-service grocery stores both in the French Quarter on Royal Street and in the CBD on Baronne in the old Sewell Cadillac building. The Rouse's on the river, Tchoupitoulas at Napoleon, is in a century-old warehouse. And uptown on Ferret at the corner of Valence is Rouse's all-new boutique store. With 7 locations in Orleans Parish, Rouse's is New Orleans' grocery store. Rouse's Markets. Taste like home.
It's time to relax. The Woodhouse Day Spa, Metro New Orleans' premier day spa experience, now with 5 area locations. For a day of relaxation or maybe just a quick 1-hour getaway, the Metro area's premier day spa experience is at the Woodhouse Day Spa. And now 5 area locations: New Orleans, Metairie, Slidell, Baton Rouge, and our newest location in Mandeville. The Woodhouse Day Spa. WoodhouseSpas.com.
Scott Craig of Katie's Restaurant.
All of my ingredients are fresh. Nothing comes out of a can here. Nothing. All of our seafood is Louisiana. All of our vegetables are Louisiana vegetables. It's a neighborhood restaurant.
Katie's in Mid-City.
Young's Dry Cleaning has free pickup and delivery. That's right. Young's Dry Cleaning has absolutely free pickup and delivery. Home or office, East Bank or West Bank. Call Young's at 288-8381 or online at youngsdrycleaning.com.
A little Art Neville on the Hammond organ. So nice. Such a sweet sound, old Art Neville. One of those funky meters right down the street from me in my neighborhood. George Porter. I'll be walking totally, and George Porter will be right outside. I'm like, hey, man. He goes, hey, how you doing? I go, good. How about you? Good. That's about it. And then George will go in the house, and when he can't hear me, I'll say something like, hey, Tolly, how often do you get to walk by a human being that is as good as anyone on the planet at what they do? We just walked by an astronaut. We just walked by an F-16 fighter pilot. This is George Porter, one of the greatest bass players in the world to ever play the bass. And he's just being his usual funky self, 70-something now. Looks younger, acts younger, still playing, still funky. That's just pretty cool. Just New Orleans neighborhood, you never know. It might be one of the world's greatest bass guitar players, one of the greatest artists, one of the greatest musicians. So much talent in this city. It's mind-blowing. It's mind-blowing. Hey, you heard that River City's total maintenance theme? River City's total maintenance does keep you cool. NolaAC.com is your cool spot. It's also your hot spot, depending on what you need. River City's total maintenance. Honest, air conditioning, and heating experts that come immediately. weekday, weekend, overnight, holiday. We got up and down roller coaster weather. It's going to be cold next week, 40s every morning. You're going to be running the heat. If you need AC help or heat help, NOLAAC.com is all you need to know. Honest air conditioning and heating experts that come immediately. NOLAAC.com. What's that, Blue Boy? No what? No, you're what? NOLA.AC. NOLAAC.com. You're right. One more time, Blue Boy. NOLAAC.com. You know, buddy. Everyone have a great weekend. See you Monday. Straight up.
You're
fool.
on the neutral ground with Corey Johnson on TV on Cox Channel 4 and Spectrum Channel 333. Also on YouTube, on radio at NOLA Talk 93.9 FM, WSLA New Orleans.
Hi, it's Ken Friend from Friend & Company Fine Jewelers. You've got a friend in the jewelry business. Come see us over on Maple Street in Uptown.
Friend & Company Fine Jewelers, Breitling time, 6 p.m.